Today we're going to go over the new version of Prism 2.0 that was just released by SyQon. They've done a pretty major overhaul not only with the user interface, but they've also given us a little bit of control over how the whole process works. I'm also going to go over a couple things that you can do differently if your image looks blotchy in an AutoStretch view after you've run denoising. And also before we get started, I just wanted to say that I'm not going to do a full coverage of everything that's in this script. I did that in my last video. I'm just going to go over the new features that are included, as well as use the deep model, the paid version of the AI model. As you may or may not know, if this is your first time seeing it, there is a mini model that loads by default, and that's absolutely free. You don't have to purchase the deep model, but it's worth roughly the $30 that they charge for it. If you do decide that you want to purchase the deep model, make sure you use my code DEEP5 for 5% off your purchase, and I also make a small commission when you use that code as well. So let's jump right into it and take a look at the new version of SyQon Prism 2.0. My name is Rich, and you're watching Deep Space Astro. So I'm going to show you two different sets of data. We're going to start with my M45 first. So we're going to come up into scripts, Python scripts, processing, and then SyQon Prism. And the first thing you'll notice is a completely new user interface. So I'm not going to go through all the settings. This is a follow-up to the video that I put out about a month ago when Prism initially was released. But we will go over the changes within the script and talk about a few different things I know people have been having problems with in both versions of Prism. So the first new thing that's very obvious besides the UI change is we have a preview window over here on the right-hand side. Now, this preview is not a denoised preview right now. It's just this image in Siril loaded into the script. And that's what these two options over here under preview are for. Obviously, if you untick live tile preview, then it disables the preview. And if you untick the show IHS stretch, then you're looking at a linear preview. So I'm going to leave those both turned on. We'll talk about the two new settings under advanced. So we still have tile size and overlap. The two new ones we have are edge pad and target median. The edge pad will help with any artifacts that you may see after the denoise has been applied to your image. So if you see any of the borders for the tiles going through your image, you can adjust the edge pad to eliminate those. If you don't want to use any edge padding at all, making this number 0 completely disables it. The target median not only affects our preview over here on the right-hand side, but it also affects the pre-stretch that the script does before denoising. So once we have our settings in place and we're ready to go, when I click denoise, the first thing it's going to do is pre-stretch the image, then it'll denoise it, and then it'll do an inverse of that stretch to bring it back to a linear image for us. You can change the setting by typing the number manually, and the range for the target median is 0.05 to 0.5. Obviously, you can use the up and down arrows to make those adjustments as well, and then there's 3 presets. Our standard is 0.15. We can go to a soft, and if you watch over on the right, you'll see it does have an effect on the preview as it changes it to the 0.2. And then the same thing with the boost, it'll take it to a 0.11, and you'll see that effect in the preview window over here on the right. I'm going to leave it on standard for now, so we're just going to run with all the defaults. With the preview window, the first thing that you can do with it is simply click the preview button. It'll draw a tile on the image, and you can drag and drop this wherever you want, and then click Run Preview. It'll zoom up on that tile for you and show you a preview of the denoising function, what it's going to look like just within that tile. If you need a larger view, the entire window is resizable, so just grab the edges and resize it to your liking. You can even maximize the entire window so you can really get a nice view of what's going on. We have navigation tools up here, so the fit button will fit the image to the screen, and then obviously zoom in and zoom out as well. So I generated my preview. I like the way it looks, and I am going to just click denoise. Now, if you watch carefully, and it may be hard to see on the video, but this is actually denoising in real time. Those tile sizes are right now working on this top row. And once in a while, you may actually see a black outline as it's going through. I'm going to zoom in the center here so I can see some noise, and we should see the tiles come across here eventually. Yep, here it comes right there. So just to the top row, that's been denoised, and here it comes across the middle row for us. So kind of cool. You can kind of watch it as it's going through and denoising the image tile by tile. Once it is finished denoising the image, this divider bar shows up, and you can see it says before on the left-hand side and after on the right-hand side. So you can drag this back and forth to see a before and the after on the same screen. So let's zoom up a little bit. Right click will allow you to pan, and so we can see better in the dark areas here. Left-hand side is before, right-hand side is after. So I'm gonna put that back to fit, and we're going to put this back to a normal size screen, and we'll go ahead and close it. So the first thing that you notice in this image is it looks a little bit blotchy around the edges. I mentioned this in the last video. There's nothing wrong with the data. When an image is heavily denoised, the AutoStretch view in Siril can be too aggressive for the data in the image. So a lot of the times it can be fixed by simply coming down to your AutoStretch and enabling high definition, and it'll clean the image up for you, give you a better view, because now you're running in a 24-bit LUT. So that looks good for me, but that doesn't always happen. Enabling the high definition doesn't work all the time. It depends on your data. And that's what I wanted to talk about next. So for me to be able to give you a real world example of that, I am going to open up my bubble nebula. And even though I have a lot of good data for this one, what I've done is I just stacked 10 5-minute exposure images. So I got data, I've got good signal, but I don't have a lot of data. There may be other reasons for this as well, but I think this is probably one of the main ones. So I'm gonna untick high definition, so we're just in an auto stretch view, and we're going to run Prism again. And using the same settings that we did with M45, I'm just going to go ahead and click denoise. And when it's done, we'll get that blotchy mess that freaks everybody out whenever they see it. And I'll show you a few different ways that you can correct for it. Okay, so the denoising has completed, and we're just going to close this, get out of the way. That's the mess that I was talking about. Again, the image was heavily denoised, is only 50 minutes of data, and coming down into AutoStretch and enabling high definition does not correct the problem for me. It's still, it made it look a little bit better, but still it's blotchy. But again, it's not the data. So we've always told everybody that when you see a view like this after denoising, it's not in the data. Disregard it. If you want to get a preview of what it looks like, you can come up into scripts, Python scripts, utility, and run the auto stretch preview. And this gives you an auto stretch view. It doesn't do any stretching that you can adjust. So I can take my target median down, right? So it's already looking better. So, case in point, data's fine. It's the auto stretch that's killing the view. And then what happens, when we say, hey, it's just the auto stretch, go ahead and stretch your data, everything will be fine. That's the second problem. You have to stretch your data differently. So if I come into linear, I am going to first just stretch it manually using the generalized hyperbolic stretch. Again, just to show you guys there's nothing wrong with the data. So I'm just going to do this quick just so we can bring everything to the front so you guys can see that all that blotchiness does not exist in the data itself, right? And you can already see it looks nice and smooth. I'm just going back and forth here just to bring it up a little bit more. I'm gonna just bump it like this, and it probably should be good enough. So there's our stretch data. It looks nothing like it did in the auto stretch. That's what we mean when we say the auto stretch view is too aggressive and the linear data is absolutely fine. Once you start stretching, you'll see that your data does not contain all those artifacts that we were seeing. So that brings us to the second problem. I know not everybody is stretching manually. We have scripts now that can automate that for us for the most part. So let's do that. Let's undo all the stretching that I just did with GHS, right? And we're back to, just to show you, right after denoising with Prism, there's our overstretch view again. So we'll go back into linear. And now if we were to use one of the automated type of stretching scripts, so whether we're using statistical stretch or Verilux hypermetric stretch, which I'll show you here for this example. We'll open up our live preview. Just default settings right now, and I hit my auto calc button. Our preview looks just as bad as our auto stretch preview, and everybody's like, hey, you just told me my data's fine. It's just the auto stretch view. Now I'm over here in hypermetric stretch, and I'm seeing the same thing. Well, again, in a heavily denoised image, these automated tools are going to struggle with figuring out the statistics of the image to give you your proper stretch. So what does that mean? It means you're going to have to make some adjustments. And for hypermetric stretch, it's relatively easy. You can adjust your target background a little bit if you prefer. But what I found really helps is the log D. Don't let it calculate that for you. Slide this over towards the left, watch the preview, and right away it's 100 times better, right? All those artifacts, all that blotchiness just went away. I'm just going to hit process, close the window, and there we go. The other thing that you can do, and again, let's undo my stretch, and I'm going to undo my denoising. We'll go back into an auto stretch view, and going with the thought that this is a heavily denoised image. When you run Prism, you don't have to run it at 100%. That's why that slider is in there. If I take this down to 50%, and obviously this is just for the example data that I have here, so you can play with it and see where it lands better for you. But if I set this to 50% and then denoise it, yes, the image is not going to be completely denoised, but it's also not going to have all that blotchiness in the AutoStretch view, which also means I can use statistical stretch or I can use hypermetric stretch, and they'll be able to figure out the best stretch parameters for me, and the image will still look really good after they stretch it. So it's a give and take, right? You got to decide which path you want to go down. Do you want to heavily denoise your image? That's fine, but then I'm going to recommend that you stretch manually or play with the settings in statistical stretch or the Viralex hypermetric stretch to get the result that you're looking for. If you don't want to mess with any of that, you just want to be able to denoise and run hypermetric stretch without messing with any settings, then crank the strength down for the denoising algorithm. So we're done at 50%. We're in a high definition view. And if we zoom in, we can still see there's noise, but if I do a before and after, it did remove some of it. So at this point now, since the AutoStretch view doesn't look horrible, if I drop it into linear and then again come back up into Python scripts and Viralex and our hypermetric stretch, generate my live preview, hit the auto button, let it do its thing, and then process it. Now that automated type stretch worked well for us because the image was not heavily denoised. All right, so a great update to the Prism tool. Hope you guys found it useful. Like I said, if you decided you want to purchase the Deep model, use the code DEEP5 at checkout. You'll get 5% off. Before you go, I want to say thanks to all of my members here on YouTube and on buymeacoffee.com. I appreciate each and every one of you. At last count, I was just a little over 500 members for the channel, and that just blows my mind. So thanks to all. If you want to be able to support the channel, consider becoming a member. You'll get your name scrolled at the end of every video. Other ways are just to simply use my affiliate links where I make commissions if you guys make purchases when you use them. I have a merchandise shop where you can buy t-shirts and hats and coffee cups and all things Deep Space Astro. If nothing else, giving the video a like, sharing it with your friends and community also helps tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. So that's a wrap for this one. Once again, thank you everybody for your time. We'll see you on the next one, in clear skies.